Okay, I'm back. It's about 6 hours later from earlier today. Today is November the 16th, and it's Wednesday at 8 p.m., November the 16th, 2016. And I'm going to pick up where I left off with what we can do now. And this is called Next Steps. This is in no way yet all inclusive. Now, next step, the subtopics are learn to craft our skill, find a wholesome food supply, get the children out of the school systems, stop with our petty crimes with ourselves and each other, give the black people your best, and some other things that I'm going to talk about when I get down there. About these two other topics left. Now, next steps. Remember, I just spoke to you about mostly male-female relationships and interracial relationships. And the next steps then this is beyond that. Some more next steps. First thing, I'm talking about basically things that individuals can do. Don't have to have a big old group or community organization or some government support or some long-winded name or some brochures or things like that. It doesn't have to be a big deal. It can be something simple. And this is learn a skill or a craft. Right now, the kids aren't working with their hands and they can't do anything with their hands. And this is a skill or a craft that involves working with your hands. It can be a trade, it can be anything. Like, for example, when I was 12 years old, I knew how to hook up a gas stove. I hooked up my first gas stove by myself at age 12. Yeah, gas stove. Cut off the valve, unhooked the we had to replace the stove. It was really a heater, a gas heater, and we had to replace a bigger stove, a big stove. And the same principle, you cut off the main valve and then you unscrew the pipes. And when you put them back together, make sure they're got the little sealer thing on there, and put it all back together, turn it on. But anyway, I learned how to do that at age 12. A 12-year-old girl hooked up a stove by herself, and I could do many other chores. So learning to do it is not a big deal. I mean, it's hard, but you can be taught. Skills and trades. We can all learn a trade or a skill. And the only thing you need is somebody who knows how to do it to teach you. In fact, I would recommend the young people grab the nearest older person that knows a skill or a trade and sit at their knee. My young people, you can't afford to do the stupid stuff we did when we were young. Your world is different. It's unfortunate, but your world has got a lot of obstacles. And the thing is, with young people, there are some people that are young that's not even going to comprehend what I'm saying, let alone implement it. Some of young people can't even hear it because their mind is so full of stuff, of various things. Some young people don't even have the brain ability to hear it yet. Then there are other young people who are saying, it's about time somebody came up with something. I've been waiting, looking, and then there are other young people that said, okay, I've already implemented what you already think, so let me see what I can do on my next point. Maybe they ought to give a speech to me, okay? But there's different levels of young people. I'm saying the ones that are able to grasp it and learn from it and do your best, because you don't have the chances we had. Your world is different. You've got to pick out a skill early on because the competition's so heavy that you do need 20 years of experience, and that 20 years begins in elementary school. It's that hard. We could goof off all the way through school and still get a job and still make and be able to build a family and feed a family. You guys can't. Even if you got the best degrees and things, you still might not be able to get a job. My thing is, I'm saying you don't really need a job. Our future can be way different than what it is now, but we got to prioritize it a little bit differently. So learn a skill or a craft. This involves working with your hands and try to find things that don't involve electricity. If America certainly got plunged in the dark ages, everything would stop. But people lived without electricity most of our evolution. Most of our history was without electrical things. We still managed to feed families, get them fed, shelter each other, clothe each other. We still managed. Things got done. I'm I'm not convinced that people were had a happier and better life than we do now. You know, people still had love. They had kids. They had family conversations and all of that. They had all those things. And although we might look back and say, "Ooh, y'all guys suffered," the people that are going to be in our future will look back and say the same thing about us, because that's just the nature of progress and future. So I'm saying, if we do get plunged into the dark ages or something happens, we need to have uh, people who know trades and skills in the community. So learn how to cook, learn how to clean, learn how to do basic things like make shoes, make clothes, make furniture. Learn a skill or a trade. Even if it's just a group of people going to the park and learning to paint pictures. We we need volunteers, and this is it don't have to be a community thing or community service. An old man who knows how to whittle wood can teach a bunch of young kids who wants to come and learn from him. A lady who can weave a basket or make a pottery pot should be able to teach young people how to do that with their hands. Especially since most of the teenagers don't have summer jobs anyway because nobody hires them. Well, uh, volunteer teachers can teach you things that they know. Even if, I don't know, they can bring their money and pay for the supplies themselves and just help pay for a place to do it at. I'm saying find free places or places that'll let you use a room or something. Or, yeah, a room or a building. But we can do that in the community. There are places that are unused. There are people who have empty hands. And then there are people that are available who have skills. And we need to tap into those skills and learn and teach our young people these skills before the older ones die, because we'll be lost. I know how to pour iron. I know how to pour bronze. I poured it because one of my degrees is in art with the emphasis on sculpture, sculpture major, and I poured metal. There are people who are here don't pour metal, but if you look at Louisiana and all of these other places where black people helped build the country, that when people say that, they're not lying. They're speaking truth. We had the skills to smelt iron and build things with metal when Africans came over here. Now we don't. We can't even do the minor stuff that takes skill. God help us if we actually tried to physically build a home with ourselves. But when Americans first got over here, they could build those cabins and things. They did, and it sheltered them. They stayed healthy. They lived. So we can do a lot of things that don't require electricity or don't require a lot of other stuff. We can do this. We can do this. And so I'm saying, people volunteer teaching young people skills and trades, because they might not have a job in the future. But if you do have a skill, uh, such as, say, wood carving, you can sell those. If you do have a skill where you can make shoes, you can sell your shoes. If you make clothes, you can sell your clothes. You can be your own designer. You don't have to have a fun fashion runway. All you need is a storefront or a booth or a table to sell your things. Okay? We need that. We need people, young people, learning how to do things with their hands. Next is we need a wholesome food supply. The food we are eating is poison. I have never seen so many, even skinny people with distorted bodies. It's distorting our whole balance. It's making us mentally dumb, making us physically fat but undernourished, spiritually lost, and sexually confused. That's what I got down here is distorted. I just read that off. Okay, making us mentally dumb. I have looked into some people, young people's eyes, and I can just see the wind whistling through the trees in their mind because ain't nothing up there. Okay? I still think that about the lady, Trump's wife. I kind of think that about her. I can almost see the leaves blowing in the wind in her head. Okay, she's our future first lady, but girlfriend ain't the sharpest tack in the bag. Okay, I decided that she needs to be married to a rich man because she ain't got no skills and she can't do nothing. She can't take care of herself, so she needed to find a rich husband because after she done stole 2 speeches and didn't even grasp it. I was laughing, talking about they discovered those speeches like they discovered America. So I digress, but anyway, it just strikes me as funny as heck. And but if I can diss her mind, if they gonna, people have been online dissing um, Mrs. Obama, so talking about she might be a man when you can see her baby pictures and her whole pictures, her whole life, and just messing with her, but she's a fine lady. Uh, so they can do that to Mrs. Obama. I can diss girlfriend's vap- vapid mind that she shows. Okay, that's yeah, that's as impolite as I'm gonna be about her. That's not okay. 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 Now, yeah, it is bad food is distorting our balance, mentally dumb. When the reason why I'm talking about dumb on that is that food also feeds your brain. Your brain is made out of protein, I think, mostly protein and amino acids. If you don't, and your body is made out of stuff. If you don't give it the right fuel, then it can't build. Oh, excuse me. It can't build itself properly. It can't make the things that it needs to properly function because you don't have the right raw material. If you are going to build a building and you're going to build it out of brick, you can't just go grab some mud and shape it into a square and put a bunch of weight on it because it's just dirt. You have to go fire those bricks and do all that stuff that makes those bricks be hard things. Okay? A square of mud is not a brick. But essentially, we're eating the squares of mud when we need bricks. Bricks can help build us. The mud is just filling you up. And we're basically eating stuff that's not nourishing and it's making us fat. Nourishment is your vitamins, your minerals, your even fluids. And I do have and calcium and all of those things and proteins and all those things that help your body build itself, to repair itself and regulate itself. If you don't have those things going in, then you're not nourished. You don't have nutrition, and you start getting those malnourished illnesses and diseases. However, our food does make us fat because it wants you to get full and it wants you to have fat. And that stuff that's making us fat is really the cheapest thing you can buy. So they're filling it up with stuff that's fattening and not nourishing. That's, vegetables are expensive, but fat isn't. And God help us that we keep going to the fast food places because I think it's part of the problem because they got super processed food. But if you do go get fast food or food, then I would suggest you go to a local black restaurant and at least give them your money rather than the fast food place. Incidentally, while I'm talking about food and fast food, I have decided to boycott a major restaurant chain that didn't that took the food away from a black veteran because a white man said that he questioned the man's veterans veteran status. So I've decided that I'll never go in their restaurant again. Nor will I go into these other restaurants that have or even thought about having race problems with black people. There's one that didn't serve somebody who came in with a group of white people, black person that came in with a group of white people. I haven't been in there since. And you can find them on the internet. I'm not going to mention them here in this forum. But yeah, look up the restaurant or the veteran who got his food taken away. When on Veterans Day, they have this little food giveaway at a lot of the restaurant chains. And this one, the man was beginning to eat, and the manager came and took the food away. I mean, the guy could have at least brought a ticket and say, you might have to pay for this. But they took his food away, and it's very humiliating. People who are racially prejudiced and don't want to serve you, they want to actually humiliate you. It's not about serving you, it's about humiliating you. So they don't put a sign on the door so you won't come in. They wait till you get in public and everybody's watching, and then they do something to degrade you. So no, I'm not never going into the restaurant again, ever, no matter what. The reason why the Montgomery bus got worked was because people stopped using their services. So if anybody knows of anything that's got a racially prejudiced treatment of any kind, then as a collective group, we can boycott those or just not go in and ask for their service. We can do without them. I want us to find some kind of forum so we can look at that and have a list of or a steady list of places we don't want to go to because they treated one of us bad at one time. And that's all I want is one time. Yeah, I mean, if whoever went in there felt humiliated or bad or didn't get service or felt like they were racially profiled and treated mean because they were because of their race, the black race, then I don't think none of us should go to them. And so I want a forum or some kind of website or something that's got a list and keeps the list updated so I don't know where and who to boycott because I'm willing to boycott them. And I just wanted to put that in there about food because a lot of us eat fast food, which we shouldn't eat. And I'm really, really working on trying not to eat fast food too because it is poison. And today I didn't go to a fast food restaurant. I went to a local black restaurant and bought their product. I sat down there and placed my order and I got their product and I'm very happy with what I got. And there's a black owned restaurant. So instead of going get fast food, if you can't gotta eat out, then get something from a local black owned or black business. We have another place where the black Muslims work and serve, and I think they own it, and I would go to there, and those are two perfectly good places to eat and great places to get food. And I would say a lot of us can do something like that if we can't, don't have the time or don't have the wherewithal to cook every day. So, but in the meanwhile, let's try to find our food path, our good food path. I want us to find black farmers who are able to do wholesome farming. So we talked about nourishment. Now, spiritually lost. If your body, a lot of people think that the spirit is independent of the body, but no, some of the things in the body helps the spirit manifest better because it needs food. In fact, if I eat dirty food, I think dirty thoughts. I really do. I think, negative, bad thinking, bad thoughts that's not really a part of what I would normally think. I'm cussing at things in my head and I'm thinking just mean stuff, mean things, rather than the positive things I usually think. And I ascribe it to eating food from fast food, fatty fast food, that's chicken that's probably not washed or something, because I feel like my spirit is dirty. And so I'm saying that what you eat can affect your spirituality. Okay. Next is sexually confused. You remember when I was talking about the cows and how they can get confused and how other animals are almost doing a homosexual act because they just don't know what in the hell to hump. And I'm convinced that the modern day dog has been so inbred and all that it's not even doesn't even have the instincts of a regular dog, and all of this hump and everything that it finds is probably a part of its human interference with its development, because I don't think it's a real dog. It's certainly not like the dogs I had when I was growing up. These are some different little stupid creatures. My dogs I had when I was growing up were pretty smart. And I already talked about the ratio of homosexual to straight people nowadays versus when I was growing up, and how it's like 40% now versus less than 10%, or about five, more like 5 or 6% when I was a child growing up, and all the way up until the 80s or so. So you got to eat food to get your mind, body, and spirit right, but it's got to be good, wholesome food. I recommend that we find local black farmers that use wholesome farming techniques, such as use seed crops, not the hybrids. The food and agriculture industry, they use these, I would call them hybrid seeds because that's what my economic history called, environmental history teacher called it, where they would develop a strain of crop in a lab and have it be a one-time planting where it won't produce a seed at the adult stage. All you're going to do is harvest the product, the crop. If the crop does not make a seed because it's a hybrid. It's a barren crop. They have distorted the crop so much that it won't produce. It's like a hybrid, like a mule. You know, a mule is a cross between a donkey and a horse, and it's a infertile creature. It doesn't produce children because it's a distortion in nature. So although one can get pregnant with the other, and I forget which one gets pregnant, it can't produce an offspring because it's barren, it's sterile, it's unnatural. So it is with these hybrid crops. They are not crops that make seeds. And so you can't replant them. You have to buy a new set of crops every year. I mean, a new set of the seeds or whatever that is that they use to grow that one time offspring. Oh, that's a distortion, and that's not a wholesome food supply. That's not a wholesome crop. It's a hybrid, and it's not a real food. It's something I don't really want to eat. No genetically modified ingredients or things that are put in there. Like, and I'm not talking about just splicing two growing plants to make a new plant. I'm talking about the things that they splice in the egg or in the seed. I don't want that. That's too much of that. We got too much mixed up stuff. Only thing the scientists can control is what they can observe. But they don't observe everything, and they're not capable of observing everything. They can only observe what makes itself apparent, make itself noticeable. But in no way do they notice everything. So the only thing they can control is what they can see. They can't see it all, so they can't control it all. We get stuff that they never intended or don't. And so if they don't care about it because they're just so busy doing whatever it is on their agenda, they might be feeding us anything. We can't afford to be fooling with what they're feeding us because it's obvious that something's gone wrong. You got 7-year-olds with breast and 9-year-olds with breast, full breast, C cups on little girls. That's something wrong with that. Trust me. And every one statistic I read was every 4 years, puberty gets 4 months earlier. Puberty on is, yeah, something like that statistic. Puberty starts earlier and earlier. And sometimes little kids got adult lust and things like that. And so that's not good because their body's not caught up with that. And their mind's not caught up with it. But even though they might have the urges from the body, but their mind ain't got it. So it's not good, not good, not good. No antibiotics. We need to be able to fight our own diseases, but if we are too polluted with the food we eat, then, it's already wrong. And you already know about that. No hormones. And we already know about what the growth hormones do and the other hormones do. Because all of that distorts your body. So we need local black farmers who use wholesome farming techniques. And they don't use hybrid crops. and seeds. They don't use GMOs. They don't use antibiotics and no hormones. And I like for them to be protected from acid and chemical rains. Things are coming out the sky. Everybody talks about them chemtrails, but they can also, if we have we have a good old back farm that's thriving, and the white farm nearby doesn't like that, then the white farm might decide to sabotage that and have chemtrails or crop dusters fly overhead and kill our crops when we force us to buy their crops. I would like to see our crops, be protected from chemical rains and other things. Plus, today we have acid rains that's got chemicals falling on our crops as it is. You don't have to sabotage it because we got so many things that are going up in the sky as pollution is coming down as rain. So I'd like to see that protected somehow. Anyway, we might have to fund some of these black farmers ourselves to have them working for us, so we can have a collective. And these have to be local, so they have to, by local they mean in the region within 100 miles. And these farmers should be able to come through the communities and sell their goods. Like in the old days, you ever heard that phrase, watermelon man? What that was that an individual could come in his cart on a flatbed truck or a small pickup truck and have his farm goods in the back of the truck. And we hear him shouting. And he'd be selling watermelons, but also cucumbers, apples, tomatoes, all kind of various kind of fruit and vegetables. And it was just a vegetable truck. And the moms would go out there and spend about whatever it is. In those days, it was little monies. But I'm going to say $5 today or $5 or $10 in this money, but it was cents back then. But inflation and years have passed. And they would buy, a bag of fruit and vegetables to prepare their meal for the next 2 days. And then the watermelon man will make his rounds again the next day or the next few days. But we were buying fresh fruit and vegetables off the truck. These fruit and vegetables were ripe and flavorful. To this day, right now, human beings in America have not ever tasted a good tomato. You have never tasted a sweet, good, vine-ripened tomato. You've tasted these things at the store and at your fast food place, or even the things in your garden, which aren't good. They're not good as they used to be. I got people that I know people who never tasted a real good tomato. There are people who have never tasted a ripe, sweet peach off the tree. And that is some good eating. If you can get a sweet, ripened peach off the tree, it's good. Fortunately, we got people who have tasted good fresh oranges. Down in Florida, the orange trees grow wild almost. Everybody and their brothers got an orange tree in the yard. When I was growing up, we used to have peach trees all over the place. And they were sweet. They're not like the things we get now, which is kind of dry and you got to put them in a bag. They're not that good. But eventually they get close to good, but they're not good as they are when you first come off the tree. Food that's really good comes fresh with sun-ripened freshness. And that's a flavorful, potent food. That's what we need, that kind of food. And so we got to figure out how to get our farmers to do it and us to do it. And that's not really that hard. Next one is get the children out of the school system. Even if we have to have small local homeschools, that one set of friends with about among a group of friends, and one of them decide to be the homeschool parent, do that. The people of the enlightened Black community can get together and start let one of them homeschool about 20 kids per set, and possibly pay them as a combination daycare and homeschool, because we can't leave those kids to other people to teach. It's not fair to the kid or them. I think that the public school systems is holding our kids back for real, even though they're sticking them in all these various classrooms that aren't good for them, like the special ed and things like that. I think our kids can do quantum physics if they're taught and if they have the right nourishment and proper rest. These kids are way brighter than what the school system has. I've seen this phenomenon I'm about to describe at least twice, possibly 3 times, where you make that 4 times, where you meet a smart, articulate child that's a toddler on up to like first year of kindergarten. Now you met this child and you can see how advanced and smart and all and precocious and funny they are, and they got all kind of levels of understanding and meaning and possibilities of communications. They are in their element and going forward. They can keep up with you and anybody else conversationally and mentally. They go to kindergarten or pre-kindergarten and they come out brain dead. I mean, there's cousin after cousin I have seen do this, and friend after friend's child I have seen do this. They start off funny, articulate, smart, little bitty kids. They go to kindergarten and first grade. I see them a few months later, and they are literally brain dead, doing their homework, memorizing, and you can see the vacant stare they have. They're not the smart, articulate little kid. They're somebody who's being programmed. They're programmed almost like a little robot. That school took that out of them and made them keep up with the group, or made them hold back and work with the group. And everybody's stupid, are not nearly as smart as they used to be. And I've seen this happen. Now, they be smart when they're in school, but they're smart at the level that the school is saying is okay. I'm saying that level ain't high enough for this kid that went in there. I'm saying that level is the lowest common denominator. I'm saying this kid can probably and very likely can do quantum physics and some of the other things if it's taught to them, because I don't think there's a limit to what they can learn and do. I think that the school is holding them back. I think the school is trying to program to fit rather than keeping up with them. And so if we homeschool our kids, we can let the kid dictate how fast they can grow and learn. And sometimes the parent might have to go get new books to keep up with them. Because I've seen kids that can handle a lot of knowledge, but they weren't taught because they weren't in the grade that teaches it. So, I've seen that. I've seen that over and over again. And so I want these kids to be able to pace their own pace and learn what they can learn. Plus, I want them to be in an environment that's not trying to sabotage their future. Okay, so these places need to be small, local, and well-funded. They could be in somebody's living room, about 15 kids or 10 kids or whatever state mandated limit is. And the people that got their kids going there can fund it and pay for it. Just like we might have to fund our own farmers. We will have to fund our own schools. I mean, our own black schools and / daycare center. It's got to be well filmed and well protected. Now, stop our petty crimes with ourselves and each other. With us in the system that we're in, we know that we've been wronged. So we want to somehow right that wrong and make our get compensation for it somehow. One of these forms that compensation takes is us stealing from each other in some way, or even from the company. And I'm saying stop that. Don't steal. The reason why I'm saying don't steal is because it's unjust. Now, whatever you're doing is you're wronging people. And I got a sentence that says, we cannot ask for justice if we are being unjust. And my next sentence here is out of balance. Remember when I was talking about balance and things being out of balance? If it's out of balance, then we know there's an imbalance subconsciously. And if it's subconscious imbalance, then the main reason I want us to stop doing this is because we sabotage our own progress subconsciously because we're trying to right an imbalance. Okay, we're reacting to that imbalance that's in the world and in karma and on our soul. So we sabotage ourselves. We sabotage our whole future and each other, because we know that we're wrong. I once, a long time ago, tried to do the stealing game, and I was terrible at it, so I knew not to, because I call uh, destruction on myself, because I can't do it well. I know I'm wrong. So I mean, I know I'm so wrong that a security guard will be attracted to me and come to me because I'm sending out all kind of vibes of doing wrong. So I said, after 2 attempts, I said, I have got to get out of the stealing game. It was fashionable in my junior high school, and I wanted to try it too because it was just what the kids were doing. I ain't good at it. So I said, okay, you can't do this very well because you know you're wrong and you're calling down destruction on yourself because you know you're wrong. Same thing here. Even though society has done us wrong, we can't take things from them illegally because we know we're wrong to do that. So we're sabotaging our own self, and we sabotage every advance we'll have because we're subconsciously making it not work. Okay? and that's why I'm saying black people need to get out of the criminal business because we're not good at it. And even if you do steal and stuff and you're asking for justice, you're not asking for justice. You're just arguing against a bigger thief. That's all that is. You're not asking for justice. You're fussing because you're having to deal with a bigger thief than you are. That's not justice. So stop it with the petty stealing and stuff. We know that the society's done us wrong, but your friend and your neighbor didn't. Or if they did, they need to make it right and they got to do that. They got to deal with that. But you just need to stop and focus. If you did do somebody wrong, try to fix it. If you know in your heart that you did someone wrong, try to fix it so you can lift that burden and put yourself back in balance. I don't need to elaborate on that. That's straight out. Fix it. This one is number E. Give black people your best service, your best quality. Smile and love your family and show them so. That is, if you were like, first time I did that, I was working in food service. And there's black people and white people coming up. And I said, and I was getting ready to give the black person something less than perfect, whereas I done gave the white person something more perfect, just out of the pile. And I said, wait a minute. This is me beginning to be conscious. Wait a minute. And I said, wait a minute. Why am I giving them the worst and that other person the best? Now, let me do this. And I reached in there and looked in there and found the best of what I had and gave it to the black person. Gave everybody else a mediocre and a mediums, but I found the best for the black person. And I said, now that's better. Because there's no reason for me to have given that black person something worse than I would have gave everybody else. But many of us do. And I would have too if I wasn't already beginning to be conscious. Because the day before, I probably would have gave them something medium or low medium. Okay? So give the black people your best. Give them the best quality and best service that you have for whatever you're giving or offering. And if nothing else, give them a smile. I've seen me walk down the street and there's a man walking, not nothing romantic and nothing on either part, but I have smiled and said hello and watched his whole demeanor change. I watched somebody go from a glowering mood to a peppy step and a smile back. Seen their whole face have relief and at a smile. Really, the whole face changed and a relieved, lifted spirit after I smiled and said hello. Do that. I'd recommend you do that. Because I've seen how much it helped the other black person when you smile. Now, next year, I got down here, we need a local militia and we need a gun and gun clubs. Yes, a local militia for your neighborhood and a gun club. There's nothing stopping black people from forming militias, just like other groups do. And go to their website and copy and paste whatever meanings they use for why they're doing it. Use their exact words. You might do a Milana Trump on them. And copy and paste whatever reasoning they got. I would say we need to just be able to protect your families and defend your home. That's the same reason everybody else does. And I got more stuff down here that I ain't gonna say. Yes, I will. I would say that you just need to protect your home. If a hoarding mob of barbarians attack your home, you need to you need to defend it. That's all. Get through your head, and I gotta get through my head that police will be of no help. Police, and recognize that the police do not plan to help the Black community. If we weren't so busy committing little petty crimes, I would say don't even call the police. The most recent things that happen with police, they have been more hindrance and non-help than help. I mean, they're like holding a gun on somebody who's trying to commit suicide, telling them to drop their weapon that they're going to commit suicide with. And some of them will be using that technique as a logical thing. Okay, now, and I say, next is final one is prepare for a world where we do not focus on white priorities. Prepare for a world where we do not focus on white priorities. We can have our own priorities. We don't even have to look at them. Don't have to fool with them. We can focus on what we need to do for ourselves. And do you see the burden that's lifted off of you when you don't have to even think about them? If you are just focusing on what you need to do for you and your family and the Black family, and the white people ain't even in the mix, and you ain't got to think about them, consider what they want, don't have to even fool with them. Do you see what kind of planet that could be? Do you see what kind of life we could have when we're just doing our thing with ourselves? That to me is a good thing. And that's what I can't wait to see, because with the people of the new Black awareness, we are, one of those things in that awareness is separation and not fooling with them. I can't wait, because I really do want that. And I'm not talking about, I finished all my basic points, but I'm not talking about separation from your job or separation from your business things. And I'm not even talking about segregation, because I believe that if you're paying for government service, all people who are paying for that government service, or all people who live in there who are part of that society, should be eligible for the same services. White privilege, when people talk about it, isn't talking about a white higher hierarchy of treatment. We're talking about a white person being treated normally is white privilege. The rest of us are being treated abnormally. The privilege is being treated normal rather than abnormal. That's what we're talking about when we talk about white privilege. Privilege is being treated like you're a normal person. The rest of the folks aren't being treated like they're a normal person. They're treated like they're less than a regular normal person. And so I want Black people and everybody else in this country to be treated like they are regular folks. And so if you're not going to talk about segregation, I'm talking about being treated to the same government service as everybody else is. But as far as living and socializing and things like that, I want that separate, because white people can't contain themselves. I will say that in the 60s, they tried. They really, really, I got to give it to them, they gave it their best. They really tried, but it didn't work because it reverted. They couldn't take it. They couldn't sustain it. When I saw this change from the people of these nice people of the 60s and 70s, and then they turned into the people of the 80s, I called it a mood swing. Excuse me. That's where I figured out that we shouldn't be vulnerable to their mood swings, because you never know what they're going to be deciding next. Because Black people who were in the civil rights movement and benefiting from it, and even equal treatment, because a lot of black people didn't have anything special in the civil rights movement except for equal, fair treatment. But then mood swing happened, and then they want to destroy everything that even thought helped black people. And that's when I figured out that we cannot afford to be vulnerable to their mood swings. The mood swings set us up to depend on things that we think that we're entitled to, and then they flip out and flip it another way, and then suddenly we're left out without a net. So you can't be vulnerable to that anymore. So I don't want us to be vulnerable to it. I want us to have our own and be able to sustain ourselves without them and without their help. So even if they did change all the things they do from now on, it's still not trustworthy because it still want us on our own path of taking care of what we need to do for ourselves. And part of that is not even fooling with them or their priorities. And not fooling with them, I'm talking about not socializing, not going to bed with them, not letting your children be around them. You can interact, you can be polite, you can laugh and joke at work, but understand that when work is over and all things are done, that this is still a white person and they have mood swings. They will leave you high and dry and they're not to be trusted because they're not trustworthy. People say that black people who think like that is prejudice. I say they're not prejudiced because you already had the chance. Black people already gave a chance. Prejudice is when you're prejudging without evidence. We've got plenty of evidence. We gave white people a fair chance, a more than fair chance. But just like the rabbit runs when they see people coming because they know that they might be in danger, we should have as much sense as a rabbit or even a bird or any other creature that runs when they see somebody dangerous. Just because that individual person that rabbit sees walking toward him didn't do anything to him, the rabbit's got sense enough not to take the chance. I say black people have given white people more than enough chances to prove what they're about. And at some point, you got to stop putting your head out there getting it chopped off. Charlie Brown, in that cartoon where Lucy pulls the ball away. Okay, the ball been pulled away too many times. We're gonna stop going after the football. Okay, and just do our own thing. We'll leave Lucy with her little ball on the field, and me and my friends are going over here to this other field and play our own game. And she can stay over there with her own little ball and hold it for somebody else because we're gone. And that's what I'm thinking about with white people. We just go somewhere else and have our own game. That's where I'm at. Now, that's the end of this one. And yeah, that's plenty for this one. I'll see you next time.